Good day, Unleashes. Today I have two very special guests on my podcast. Now, Anthony and Taig have been in my world for at least, I would say, 2 years, more or less. And especially Anthony, I don't know about Taig, maybe about 6 months. And these two guys are responsible for these very two cool books. So if you're on audio and you're not on video and you won't see this, the one is called Podcast Marketing and the other one is called Podcasting Made Simple. And these are very two cool books. It's helped me a lot to grow my podcast and I recommend that you guys get onto it. But Anthony and Taig has been responsible for helping a lot of people to grow their podcast. They've got an amazing Facebook group. And these two guys are full of amazing knowledge. And I thought season 9 of The Experts, how not best to speak to the experts and growing your podcast. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Doing great, Joy. Thank you very much for having us. I'm excited for this. It's good. Obviously, like you said, we've known each other for quite a while now, so it's nice to get on and actually do a podcast with you.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I'm excited because these two books are so good. So I do this thing where I read and listen while I read because you just take in knowledge in different ways. So obviously I've got the audiobooks that goes with these guys. Before we get into the books, because I really want to talk about that, can you guys please just introduce yourselves to the audience? Who are you guys on a fun day, work aside?
On a fun day, work aside. Work seems to be the only thing that we're doing nowadays. But no, like, my name's obviously Anthony, the co-author of those books that you mentioned, best-selling books, and Podcast Made Simple, Podcast Marketing. And really, in terms of business aside, I'm a fitness enthusiast, you could say. So I'm really into fitness, into bodybuilding particularly. Had a long break during COVID, but I'm now back at it. And then I spend time with my family and mainly my girlfriend. So that's me besides the business. And
obviously I'm Taig. Again, as Anthony said, business is is really the life. But aside from that, I'm a very avid guitarist. It's like a massive part of my life. So yeah, if I'm not doing work related stuff, then I'll be making music and playing guitar. And for a bit of context, so I mean, I'm 22, Anthony's 21, so we have been like friends in school and stuff like that for probably about 10 years now. Went to university together, college. I don't know what it's called in New Zealand. Definitely college in America. Yeah,
college.
We've like lived together for 3 years in plenty of different housing arrangements, and obviously just become now business partners. So yeah.
That's very cool. How did you guys decide to just start podcasting? What was that initial thought with that?
So the initial thought, honestly, I think about nearly 2 years ago, we decided to start a business and wondering what it would be. And we ended up starting a publishing business. That's the main gig really. And then it was now deciding, what avenue should we go down in terms of what audience should we help and what audience should we serve? And we came to the conclusions of podcasters because we both listen to podcasts a lot. We both love the medium, and we realized that there was something special going on around that time where a lot of people really taking things on. So we thought, why don't we hop on and see what's going on? I think Taig can attest to this. The community have been crazy supportive and warm and welcoming. And we made so many good connections that, when we launched the first book, it done exceptionally well. And then that made us stay. A lot of people start businesses and it doesn't always go well. But when we started our business and it went really like as well as it could go, basically, as well as it could go. And that really drew us in. I don't know if you have anything to attest to that, Taig.
Yeah. I mean, just to affirm the point that, we didn't, I guess at the time, like we didn't even have the long-term vision of like, making tons of books down the line and, growing a community to the way we have and stuff. It was really we really just didn't think too much far ahead about it at the time. Hence using the pen name Daniel Larson, which I'm not saying it's a bad decision, but it's definitely a little confusing to explain these days. But as Anthony said, we were just taken aback by one, just how amazing the community is, and two, I guess just we're a bit surprised ourselves at how much we actually managed to help people early on, to the point where we've now just completely invested ourselves in this.
I'm quite impressed with your community on Facebook that you've guys created. I remember when I joined, it's probably a year now, Anthony. I think that we started talking, and like you were from the go, you were just so welcoming and really interacting with me. And I know I was not the only one. You were just interacting with everybody. When people do a comment, both of you, you respond and you comment, and you really interact with your people in your Facebook group. And I mean, your Facebook group have exploded from the beginning. When I was in there, I think when I joined, it was like maybe not even a couple of hundred people, I think. And now it's like over how many, like thousands now, right?
Yeah. So yeah, no, the group's now at over 2,800, which is
something
it's
like
quite
that.
nice. It's good, and
Yeah.
you know, it's slowed down a bit in terms of the growth, which is fine because we're now getting a lot of high quality people coming through the door. But at the peak of it, it was crazy.
Yes.
Like we
Yeah,
actually looked
peak,
at
it
our
was
numbers,
like-
and it was it was like
Yeah, go on.
100. I wasn't like 100, 200 a week or something like that, or something insane.
Something crazy like that. It was like 30 a day, 30 to 40 a day. It was it was ridiculous. But yeah, as you say, we're now focused on less focusing about, you know, outreach and more just catering to what the people that we already have.
Yeah.
Which is a great place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And I'm just impressed with your community and what you guys have done there. And, you know, how did all of that come about? When did you decide, okay, well, we're going to start a Facebook group, or we're going to do this? How did you actually get into the whole aspect of growing this? Did you do your market research? Did you look and see what was at the time?
Really, we just took advice from people that had already done similar stuff, not even necessarily within podcasting, but just kind of firstly just in the book publishing space. And it was kind of, again, we never really thought too much about it at the time. It was just, well, okay, well, we have to, you know, sell the book, market the book, get it out there. So we're going to have to do some kind of community thing. And obviously Facebook was just like the best place to start. And then, yeah, again, I guess it was just a case of not really expecting it to go as seriously as it did. And then we kind of, you know, ramped up the content, ramped up the engagement, and then just things kind of took off after that.
How did your pen pal name came about? Because, like I said, it is a bit confusing. Like when I first saw it, the first time, I was like, "Is Anthony under a weird name in Facebook?" This is my first impression, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. And then I'm like, no, but he's got a business partner. So how the heck is this putting together? And then I remember actually watching a Guy Live with you guys in your Facebook group, and you explained it. But can you please explain it to the audience and how your pen pal name came about?
So, like we said, we didn't really expect to be so involved and all in. You know, the last 2 years has been fully dedicated to podcast, helping podcasters grow their podcast, start and grow their podcast. And we weren't expecting that. So to begin with, the truth and transparency of it was, you know, we're business owners, and we wanted to think long term of, like, if we eventually want to exit the business, we can't really have Anthony and Taig. Although it's great for personal brand, it will make it difficult to exit the business, and, you know, make it difficult to sell the business with us being so personally attached. So we decided to go with Daniel Larson and use a random word generator. You know, worked really hard, help podcasters out, launched the bestseller like instantly, and grew the community to a point where it's just took over our entire lives, and obviously helped podcasts with the coach and all that kind of stuff. And it's, you know, now has been at the point where we're so involved with the community, and we didn't have that foresight. So yeah, that's how Daniel Larson essentially came about. And now, you know, so I guess it's like our own little secret when people in our community who understand that and that story.
I love it. It's really cool.
It definitely makes for a lot of interesting explanations.
Did you guys have like any weird, I don't know, like I said, I thought like this is some weird name that Anthony is hiding behind. I don't know, maybe there was some crime involved. You never know. Like, this is the internet, that can happen, right? Has anybody ever said anything weird to you guys about your pen pal name?
I think
there was that one time, Anthony, wasn't there, when what was it? It was after the 75% of podcast book, because it was directed at you, wasn't it? What? Oh, I can't remember exactly what happened.
So we launched the book.
Just got really funny. Yeah, you go on.
Yeah. So we launched the book a couple of months, like maybe 3 to 4 months ago. And the book was essentially a collective of a community project where we had podcasters give their advice on what they were doing before they started. We launched this book. It did great. You know, it was a great community project that we worked together with the community on a collective project like this. And we had a guy who just promoted it and said, hey, this is an amazing book. Put it in the podcast movement community, the group, and which was amazing for us, having that feedback, and we didn't ask for it; it just sort of happened organically. And then within the comments, someone like said something like, "Oh, why are you using a pen name, or who is this guy? I need the transparency. I feel like you're claiming this. It could be fraudulent." And we went back and forth, with this guy, and he had a lot of skepticism, which I do really get, because, in the podcasting space, there's a lot of people there trying to take people's money and aren't legitimate. They're not really building anything. They're just sort of like there to take advantage of people. So I got his stance on it, and I clarified the reason, like I have done to you, and he got that, and then he was like, you claim this and claim that. And I think if he said that at the start of our journey, it might have hurt me or hurt our feelings, but because I have so much integrity and conviction with what we're doing, and we've seen the results of the people we've helped, it didn't mean much. This guy calling that, it doesn't matter. Like, if you read the comments, Joy, you've been part of our ecosystem, our community. You're not going to think anything worse of me, because you know me. You know how much work we've been putting in over the last 2 years. So that, I think that it does happen, but because we've been doing it for so long time now, it doesn't really, it's like, oh, cool, it is what it is.
Find it fascinating. So you guys are very young. I feel like I'm quite old. I'm almost double your age, which is like, oof, I'm not going to get any younger. But anyway, so you guys, like, you're the typical millennials that just go out and start businesses. And I see this so much. And I have to ask this question, I guess, and this is coming from a parent point of view. Do you guys learn these things these days in school to start businesses, or is it just how your mindset grows? Because in my time, and I'm sounding very old now, but in my time when I grew up, it wasn't a thing to just go out and start businesses. But these days, I know more millennials starting businesses than what are we, the Gen X or something? I don't even know what we are. You guys are Gen X. So how do you guys do this? Do you just get together in college and say, you know what, this is what you do? Or
yeah, well, I mean, to answer the first thing you said, it's definitely not something that's like more encouraged in school or anything like that. If anything, the opposite. I mean, we have friends that study business and stuff like that, and like like, without any disrespect to them, like, we know a lot more about business than them now. None of them have actually started businesses. It's definitely not encouraged. I think for us to, I mean, I think what is different is, like, obviously social media makes a huge thing.
That is true.
So now we see the information is a lot more accessible, and of course there's so many ads, especially that hammer, especially from like scammers. Like forex trading is a good example of, like, I feel like it was a very young demographic that was getting hammered by ads to get into that, because they're very impressionable. So yeah, I mean, I think people our age are probably targeted to get into making money online stuff. Not necessarily like a proper business. I think a lot of it's just get rich quick. But for me and Anthony, to be honest, it started with we both got massively into like law of attraction stuff when we were about 18, and then, because of course, and this was when we had just moved out of our small town to a city, to do uni together. So it was just, and we lived with, it was us two and 6 girls. We were friendly with them and stuff, but obviously there was a lot of time when it was just us two. And we'd just be basically just reinforcing each other's beliefs, just basically indoctrinating each other, because we just had no one else for the first little while. And then, I don't know, I think we just both, you can chime in here, Anthony, but I think we both raised our standards a lot then of what we could achieve. Started thinking big time, and just started saying stuff like, by the end of uni, which was 3 years long, we'll have a successful business, and at the time it was stuff like we'll be making X amount of money and just stuff like that. We basically started dreaming really big, and then of course, as I'm sure you know, when you do that, you start to, I guess, like, opportunity starts falling your path, and you start seeing more of it in real life. And then it was a massive process of trial and error. I mean, we nearly got into a pyramid scheme selling these Japanese water machines.
Go back. What did you almost sell? Japanese
water. It was called a Kangen water machine.
Oh yes, I actually sold those. They're not terrible.
What? A Kangen water? Seriously? That actual mad? Really? And what was that like?
It's fine. It's not like the pyramid scheme. Yes, you do get them. Trust me, I've been in those too. But this is more like an affiliate thing. Very popular here and in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. well, maybe we should have done it after all. But I mean, my dad definitely thought it was a pyramid scheme. So to us, it was a pyramid scheme. And like, he didn't even, the crazy thing was, he didn't even say like, no, you're not doing that as pyramid scheme, because we didn't have, basically, they sold us the dream. And then at the end they said, oh, but of course you have to buy one first. So we were like, oh, well, we don't have $5,000. So then I rang up my dad, and actually, was it $5,000? I think you could do installments of like
I think it was
$1,500 at a time.
Yeah,
Or
but it
something
was
like
like
that. Yeah,
$5,000. Yeah, it's
yeah,
a lot,
and I remember
though.
it is a lot, and I called my dad and spoke to him about it. And the thing is, he actually said, if you really want to do it, I will help you two with the money to get started. But he offered, he didn't just say no, but he just talked us out of it. That was a big learning experience. And then,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ.
I've talked for a while here, so you can take over, Anthony. But in short, I think that was the start of it. And then we just from being around each other so much and both wanting the same thing, we just fell into plenty of different opportunities. And then when lockdown hit, that was like a complete blessing for us, because it gave us, you know, the dedicated time to just really focus on one thing. Which was when we started our current business.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
I love that you started. My first business was the Kangen machines. No jokes. I also started exactly with that as the first thing. It is legit. Like if you don't sell the lifestyle, you just sell the machine. It is perfectly fine. I know a lot of friends is making a lot of money with it, and they're just doing it right. If you do it wrong, like if you sell the dream and the lifestyle, that's nonsense.
Yeah, that's.
I think it was a thing about that we had to then it wasn't we were selling it to people. It was actually we were selling other people into selling it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
that's wrong.
That's
wrong.
It was a bit dodgy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's mad. That's so funny that you did the exact water machine you sold.
I still have my machine. I love the water. Like I am such a water geek. I don't do bottled waters. I am like a water snob. I go on holiday, I will fill my bottles this much and I will take them with on holiday. It's terrible. It's really bad for me. Okay, so at the moment, you guys are obviously, you've got your 2 books, right? And this is your front end product. What do you guys sell behind these books? Like, what is your offer that you offer people?
So currently at the moment, our main focus is helping podcasters growing. So I work with podcasts one-on-one doing coaching, and offers pretty simple, you know, get helping podcasts become unstuck if they've plateaued. So I'm not working with beginners, people who've podcasted before, and helping them grow their podcasts using reliable like frameworks. So these are proven frameworks that were used for other clients we know works really, really well. And the goal essentially is to provide all podcasters the tools to help them grow their podcast, or have the tools to at least increase the chance of them successfully growing. You know, there's a lot of factors that goes into it. If you've got a bad podcast and I give you these tools, it's still not going to work for you. So they have to have a good podcast to begin with, and obviously we go through that process of like, you know, doing a discovery call, making sure we're a right fit. So that's that in the back end. But we're now currently actually working on something that's a lot more, let's say, what I'm currently doing, but on steroids. And that has been our last, basically this year for us so far, has been working on that. And yeah, that's it. In the last, I want to say 14 days of work, we've had like over 50 interviews with podcasters, which has been crazy.
Much
yeah,
more.
And we've got another 50.
Pushing 80 now.
Yeah, and we've got another 50. No, like another like.
We have
like
something
over 100.
like so including everything that's been booked that we've done, including no shows, and currently booked. I think there's about 120 or something. Obviously, between the two of us, about 60 each. So yeah, we're knee deep in that at the moment. But yeah, like Anthony said, that's obviously not what we're working on in terms of the offer. We've been really revamping all videos. When I say revamping, I mean just giving these old videos that we made like a year ago like a total facelift, and just adding in stuff that's actually going to work. And yeah, we're really currently in the process of compiling the offer, to be honest, the big one, as Anthony said.
It's quite impressive how you guys have built this out. Okay, so with your Facebook group, you obviously use that to generate leads. Is there any other way? This is now a marketing geek question. I have to ask the marketing geek questions. What other ways do you use to generate leads?
So really, the main thing has been the Facebook group, and then we've got our book as well.
Yes.
So the book is a perfect segue for people who, like our content, then join our email list using our, our lead magnet.
Yeah.
And then from that, they enter our ecosystem. And everyone who we've interviewed in the last, all the 120 people, they've come from our either readers of our books, or they've come from the Facebook group, and they've then joined our email list. So that's essentially it, really. That's have I got that right, Taig?
Yeah. So I mean, all the interviews that we've done, they're solely from email lists. So it's really good because we haven't had to do any manual outreach.
That's
and
awesome.
you like you explained, it's like it's a bit of I guess like a triangle that all feed into each other. So the books, the emails, and the Facebook group. And of course, we have people join our email list from our Facebook group. I don't know what you'd say, Anthony. I think the Facebook group really is our biggest like avenue for generating leads.
100%.
It's a bit hard. It's a little bit harder to quantify how many people come from the books, and because the Facebook group is referenced in the books as well, a lot of people just join the Facebook group first. But yeah, as you can probably imagine, having a book is great as a funnel as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to say we have got a number because we've got we actually use obviously Unleash Your Marketing there on there on the platform. So we know roughly the number. Some of it's a bit scattered, but yeah, it's been quite good. For it.
I'm also revamping all the videos in the membership, guys. So that's my goal the next couple of weeks. So you will see a whole brand new system coming out there as well.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay. So we talked about obviously some marketing stuff and all the things in the front end, but now I want to go really behind the scenes to understand what gives you guys, what makes you successful. Now I know you're very much on your path to become really successful. I see that in your near future. So what does your habits look every day? Like, what do you guys do on a daily basis that you think maybe put you aside from your friends that's not, they don't have their own businesses, or they're not on that path to success?
You can go first, like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I'll start with that. I guess the routine. So my current routine is I try and get all the. So obviously business is like the thing that takes up most of my time. The other things that I'm trying to work on in my life consistently every day, my aim is to get them all out of the way in the morning before 9 o'clock. So then I have the whole day of just I'd completely focus work on the business. And often it goes later. I mean, the last couple of weeks it's been like pretty much non-stop into the evenings because obviously we've been doing interviews in American time. So in terms of like habituals, like, I wake up at 6, get to the gym for 6:30, do my workout. A cold shower really helps. Very stereotypical entrepreneur thing, but I love them. Do that, kind of listen to an audiobook while I'm having breakfast. I was reading before. Sometimes I read before bed as well. And then after that I have just half an hour of just playing guitar, which is because I'm still trying to practice that and get better at that. So then by the time it hits 9, I've done, I've got my workout in, I've played a bit of music. So even if I don't manage to do it later in the day because I'm too busy with work, that's fine, and it's not something that's in my head. For me, definitely of recent times, that's been a massive thing for like me having successful and productive days at work. What about you, Anthony? Well, I probably think of some more. But...
Yeah, mine's relatively similar to those things, to be fair. In terms of habits, I don't know if it's like I think habits are good. I think it's more like a lifestyle. Like it's being fully committed to the lifestyle of being an entrepreneur and being a business owner, because it's very demanding, and I don't think habits quite cut it. You can have habits that help you to begin with, but eventually it becomes like lifestyle. So I think being a bit like just honestly like obsessed, being completely obsessed with it and consuming content around it and getting your mind to think like that, and obviously getting into the habit of reading, and that goes in line with the consumption side of things, and getting in the habit of literally the habit of constantly challenging yourself. Like we set like to what our friends or like people, to normal people, ridiculous goals. Like to us is ridiculous goals, but constantly elevating our standards. And I think another habit is like building up the network, and those are the main habits. In terms of, you know, other stuff, meditating, I meditate like through the weekdays, at least 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And that's about it, really. I think those are the main habits that have really helped.
Yeah, I think that was a good one that I forgot. Like the fact that we're pretty much always consuming content that's going to help us get to where we want to be. I mean, at lunch, I'm pretty much always just watching through part of this video course that we got at the moment. We've basically been always watching some kind of course for, I don't know, the last, God knows how long. And obviously reading massively helps as well.
Yeah.
Content
is incredibly important for entrepreneurs to grow.
Important.
It's so like, if you don't do that, I've never met, and I've had the privilege to speak to quite a lot of millionaires, and I've never heard one millionaire say nothing about like they don't read or any of that stuff. They all literally consume at least an hour or two of content a day. Like, it's just a thing, right?
Yeah,
100%.
What do you guys think is the thing that makes you successful, or at least definitely get you on that path there? That's for sure.
Fucking very good question. Pardon my language, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear.
I'll beep you out.
That's a very good question.
I think one thing, there's probably plenty of things. This certainly isn't the best answer, but one thing is that we've always made sure to make an effort to be around people that we're impressed by, and I guess that kind of lift us up. You know, whether that's like a network of publishers, whether that's you know, always, you know, basically keeping in contact with a lot of podcasters and always building up that network, including a lot of like amazing and successful people like yourself, of course. But yeah, definitely, especially from a publishing point of view, being always having it like, you know, a tight inner circle of people that are basically doing better than us, if you define it in financial terms. Because it just sets the expectation, and then we feel like we're lagging behind, so it just gives us an extra boost to just I don't know, just ruthlessly do stuff. I don't know, that's one thing. There's so many more. What do you think, Anthony?
Honestly, I feel that's the main thing, to be fair. And I think another thing that I would say, which I don't normally say because I don't really like it, but I think luck has a lot to do with it. Obviously, you create your own luck, but you know, during our journey, we're so, like, when I think about it, we're lucky that we had each other during university. We're lucky we had each other to bounce back and forth. We're lucky that we, you know, got into entrepreneurial around that time. We had so much free time at university. We're lucky that we started this thing called match betting, which was just the rarest thing that basically meant we could fund our business. Like, it's
not
like
gambling.
There's been
side note.
It's not gambling. It's not. It's not gambling. Don't worry. And you know, I'm lucky that when I found the opportunity to start the business, I was able to ring my mate Taig, and the next day we invested like over $1,000 on just the course, literally the next day. So I think, honestly, I know that this is going to sound a bit like, but luck, and then what Taig said, massively, that the network has been huge. Like, it's insane, because most people don't think they can do things because they don't know anyone who's done that or doing that.
That's a good point.
True.
It's foreign to them. So, like, you know, people who live in a small town where we come from, they don't know someone who's making, like, let's say 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a day. Like, whereas thankfully, we're in a position where we've met people who have made, you know, who not finance, but like 100 grand a day consistently so being around these sort of people and then seeing how they think, it exposes us. And it's like, that's not far away. Like, I can message them right now, and they're literally an arm's length away. So for us, it feels like, well, if they can do that, why couldn't we? And it's not like this guy who's famous, or it's like, no, this person that we know and we've had a night with, and we know him closely. So no, plays a huge role in that.
Yeah, and I think on that note, like, it's the most obvious thing of all. Like, there's two of us, and that's a massive advantage that we have. You know, I mean, it's when one of us has an off day, it's very unlikely that both people have an off day. You've always got the other one pulling each other up. On a almost daily basis, one of us will just have an idea that's just not that great, and the other one will shut it down. So we're constantly like just I guess like double checking against ourselves, which
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it obviously just makes our end product and our output a lot better because it's always been double checked and refined and stuff like that. Yeah, that definitely helps a lot.
I laugh. You guys are so funny. So something I do want to just expand on a little bit. Surrounding yourself with successful people is critical because obviously, it's that whole thing, you become the five you spend your time with. Now, I live in a small town, and as far as I know, there's not people that make that much money or even close to it. And the only people that I know that I've interviewed is people in other countries. Right. I don't actually, and I have one millionaire here in New Zealand, but that's it. So how did you go out and find these people? Did you just reach out on online communities? Did you do it within your spaces outside when you went to the city? How would you go and find people to talk to?
I think so. For me personally, when we first got into publishing, I think I saw a few people that I knew were doing well, and in my head I was like, when you have a thought like, oh, that'd be so cool to know that person or meet that person. And I think honestly, just connecting with people, not about their success or about like their money or about, oh, how do you do this, and constantly bombarding them with questions of like, because people that, most people are nice, they don't really mind, but if you want to build trust with that person on a surface much deeper, you have to get to know them. Like, oh, how's your day been? We had a coach, shout out Alex, like an amazing guy, and we had coaching sessions with him. But what me and Taig always try to do, because we know he's on a call all day, we try to ask him, Alex, how's your day been, mate? Alex, how's your dog? Because you mentioned like a dog, and those little things sticks in people's mind because you're trying to actually see how they're, genuinely care for them. And because of that, then that builds, and that person will then do more for you than you would have thought before. And that, that's not like planned out, is just being a good person. I think that's
human nature.
The best way. In terms of the tactics, is just like, in terms of the tactics, it will just be, just send them a message that's like a bit personalized. I'm like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I saw your success, but dude, how's your day been going? Simple. Start simple, and then it builds, because then you have access to their network. And if you're good to them, they connect. That's literally what happened with us, isn't it, Taig? Like, we didn't know these people, and then we met one person, and that one person knew two people, and then those two people knew those two people, and then
your network is your net worth. That's for sure.
Well, exactly. It's a famous quote, and it's very true, isn't it? And even like, even though most of these, well, if not all of these connections are online and over message, like people can still sense if you're not being, genuine, and if you are after something, or if you're not that into the conversation. So as Anthony was saying, I guess just like just being genuine and just meaningful, and actually wanting to, actually being invested in every conversation over Facebook or whatever you have. It goes like a hell of a long way.
That's really cool, me. I must admit, one thing that has helped my business a lot was just building relationships. It is so incredibly important. And I did ask you guys that question because I find, like, in my circles with the people I help, because I help mostly startup businesses or businesses that's new. And a lot of people struggle with that initial outreach to people. How do you reach out to people? And I guess just doing it. And you guys gave a good example of, just get that ball rolling. Hashtag goals. There's a reason for that. I used to coach businesses one-on-one. So it became a joke, which became a thing. So the story behind it really is like, every day I'm like, have you worked on your goals today? What have you achieved this week? And then eventually I was tired of asking it, and I was just like, well, there you go. What's your goals? How do you guys set goals?
Funny.
How do we set goals? Did you say how did we set goals, or what are our goals? Sorry.
Yeah. How do you set your daily goals? So if from not knowing what you're going to do to writing it down to actually achieving it, what's your path there? What's your blueprint?
Yeah, I mean, so we like to stay ahead of time in terms of monthly and like quarterly. I say quarterly; it's only something we've done this year. Before it's always just been monthly, but we'll just take the time in the morning on like a Monday of the first week of the month or whatever on Zoom, just to go get an Excel sheet or a Google sheet and just just kind of just brainstorm and just let loads of ideas flow, and eventually just organize it into, you know, priorities and kind of long term and short term and stuff like that. And then from there we just kind of, you know, just slowly zoom in until it's like a daily thing. I mean, on a daily basis, we normally just discuss it in the morning, like, okay, what's the plans for today? And then if we split up, we split up. If not, we're often just working on stuff together. Big fan of the old plan tomorrow today thing. You know, I find that helps a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I do personally, like, you know, with the journal and stuff. But yeah, something we've done this year is we've just been focusing in quarters, which has been excellent, like way better than last year. Like it's like a, how do you say it, like the 30,000 foot view kind of thing. Like it's been setting quarterly goals has been, I would totally recommend it to anyone that hasn't done that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Anthony would say the same. It's just given us complete clarity and actually way better of a deadline than just stuff like, okay, by the end of this week. Because when I find that a lot of the time, if you just focus on like by the end of this week, it doesn't really work out that well, because stuff always comes up. Like obviously, you know, like running a business, like there's always so many unaccounted tasks and just little blips and stuff like that come up. But focusing on it from like a 3-month point of view is like, I just think kind of flawless for that purpose.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. I think it's been honestly is the I think the confident boost has gave both of us, and with things going insanely well and just us picking up momentum, the quarterly goals really does makes it feel real. You know, the goals that you set for yourself, because the year is too far ahead, but then when you break it down to the quarters, it gives you a clear, okay, yeah, that's doable, very doable. And then it's like, then when you start taking action towards it and you're in alignment to meet your first quarterly goal, you're like, oh crap, yeah, that, you know, we sent each other a screenshot of like, because we did it like on a canvas sheet and had the quarterly goals, and we're well on track to doing our you know, our Q1 goal, which is really, really nice. And that just gave both of us a massive confidence. It's like, yeah, dude, like we can fucking do this. So I'd recommend it to anyone out there who's thinking of how I plan the year. Do quarterly goals and then monthly goals, and like Taig said, then weekly, then daily. It helps massively.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's the time goes so quick. Like if you set a quarterly goal, before you know, the quarter's gone. It's amazing how fast the time goes to actually achieve that. And it is, 100%. I've got boards. I've got 2 here. You guys can't see this one here, but yeah, exactly. That's the best way, I think, to set goals. Guys, one last question. If you have any advice for somebody sitting on the fence that want to start a business, but they just not ready to do it, what advice would you have for them? I love it. I can see the gears turning.
So I've got I can't do one, but I can do 3 that I think that I'll be concise with them. So number 1, build out your network and start surrounding yourself with people who are doing much better than you. You need to. Number 2, commit to whatever it is you're doing fully and believe that it can happen for you. Like really commit. And I mean, really commit and know that you have sacrifices will have to be made. Number 3, which is to me, I think is the most important, invest in your business.
I knew you were going to say that.
Invest in your business happily with full confidence that money is going to come back to you tenfold in the future. Not in 6 months, but give yourself a year and a half knowing I'm going to invest in this business consistently, believing it's going to happen. And for us, that was, you know, we spent tens of thousands in the business, which is crazy when we think about it now, happily, without any doubt, because we just knew it was going to come back to us, and it did. So I mean, that's it.
Yeah, and on, you know, like on the opposite level, we see a lot of people in the communities we're in and stuff. We see a lot of people fail, and it's because they've been scared to keep investing, and because like the skepticism and the you know, like, will this work, gets them, and then that stops them taking 100% action. But for us, it's always been like, at times like a bit naive, to be honest, because we know, as I said, like we just weren't thinking long term. Like even when we didn't know that much or anything, we were just like ruthlessly pummeling like pretty much all of our money into it. Of course, we're lucky because we didn't have like rent and like a family to feed. And well, sorry, we did have rent, but we didn't have like adult bills
responsibilities,
to pay, and, like, family to feed. We didn't have responsibilities, yeah. So yeah, there's that, and obviously, like Anthony was saying about the surrounding yourself with people, and I guess like to someone that hasn't started yet, they're probably thinking, well, how the hell do I just go and like make friends with people? But I think the first step is just joining a community, even if it's just a Facebook group, a free Facebook group, not related to any course or anything. Because then if you start seeing all these people talking about this stuff every day and you can't get away from it, then I think if you do have it in you, then it's really only a matter of time. Just kind of living in that space and just seeing people do good things and talk about it all the time, and of course that's then the best place to start reaching out to people, because there'll always be people in the same boat as you in that regard.
I love that. Guys, this has been good. Thank you so much. Where can people get your books? Where can I go? What link should they use?
Yeah, so Amazon. So we'll obviously drop the Amazon link that takes you to the Daniel Larson page. We can find Podcaster Made Simple, Podcast Marketing, actually a bundle of the two. Why 75% of podcasters fail and how you can avoid it, and He Who Shall Not Be Named, every podcaster's biggest hurdles, which I throw at the end and I wish I didn't even have to say, but it's also there. Yeah, so yeah, Amazon.
I love the books, guys. So I strongly recommend get onto them. They're really, really fun. It's a good read, because sometimes, you read business books like this and you're like, oh gosh, this is going to be boring. But you guys just made it fun, so it's just fun to listen and read, because I do both. So that's really, really cool. Yeah. Is there anything I might have missed that you guys would like to add to the audience?
No, I think all the
not that
really.
I can think of. Okay, I mean, if you're a podcaster looking to get into podcasting, join our Facebook community, Podcast Marketing Made Simple. That would be the only call. But I mean, yeah, apart from that, just obviously thanks a lot for having us, Joy. We appreciate it. It's been a really good chat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. And I'm in New Zealand, you guys in the UK, so it's always tricky to find a time that works. But this has been fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joy.